Picture yourself walking across a desert at night. The moonlight paints shadows on the sand, and for a moment you mistake those shadows for mountains. Your chest tightens, your steps slow, your mind begins to plan for suffering. You feel dread. You prepare to climb, to fight, to endure. But as dawn breaks, the mountain vanishes. It was only a mirage born of fear. Life, Rumi said, is filled with these mirages. Illusions so convincing they bend your breath, shake your knees, and whisper, "This is real, this is final, this is the end." Yet, when the sun of truth rises, you find only sand where you thought there was stone. What if the greatest battles you fought were not against enemies, but against images that never existed? What if your heaviest chains were only made of smoke, wrapped around you by your own trembling hands? The saints themselves trembled before this possibility, not because the illusion was real, but because the heart can forget. And when the heart forgets, shadows can feel sharper than swords. Even the purest heart can be startled by the ghost it creates in the dark. Stay. The next line may change how you read your own life. What you fear most may not exist at all. This is the essence of the warning. Even saints are not immune to illusion, and neither are you. And unless you learn to see, you may spend your years wrestling with ghosts, mistaking smoke for iron, and fear for truth. Remember this image as we walk further. The desert, the shadow, the mirage, because this is the illusion that even saints fear. You wake each morning with a weight already on your chest. Deadlines press, relationships ache, the world scrolls endlessly in front of your eyes. And yet, if you look closely, half of what you suffer has never touched you. It only lived in your mind, amplified by imagination, until it seemed unbreakable. An unanswered text feels like abandonment. A glance becomes judgment. A quiet room becomes evidence of loneliness. You weave entire catastrophes from threads that don't exist, then wear them like heavy garments. Because you imagine, you suffer. Because you compare, you shrink. Because you believe shadows are solid, you fight wars that were never there. And all of it feels so real that you would swear your blood carried the wounds. The Quran reminds you, believers fight for the cause of Allah, whereas disbelievers fight for the cause of the devil. So fight against Satan's evil forces. Indeed, Satan's schemes are ever weak. Weak, yet how powerful they feel when you forget the truth. That is the danger, not the weight itself, but the illusion of its strength. Rumi warned that even saints fear illusions, because saints know how fragile the heart is. They know a whisper of despair can look like thunder, and a fleeting thought can feel like destiny. They know that if you do not guard your gaze, you will mistake smoke for stone, and stumble. Stop. Look again. Are you seeing what is hidden, nor only the dust? This is why the stakes are high. Illusion does not wound the body, it wounds the soul's trust. And without trust, you wander thirsty in a desert of your own invention, forever looking for water in dry sand. The danger is not the enemy outside, but the phantom you bow to inside. This is the illusion that even saints fear. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast lake. The wind ripples its surface, and suddenly you see shapes moving beneath. A monster, a shadow, a figure rising. Your pulse quickens. Your imagination races ahead, inventing claws and teeth. But when the water's still, nothing remains but depth and reflection. Rumi called this life's trick the surface ripples that look like depth. The soul panics, believing the waves are reality. But waves are not the water. Shadows are not the form. Fear is not the truth. What if most of your pain is surface? What if the storm only stirs the top, while below, the water of your soul remains calm, untouched, radiant as ever? You mistake ripples for roots, noise for essence, illusion for reality. And so you exhaust yourself skimming the surface, never diving into the stillness beneath. You spend your years circling the shore, never daring to sink into the calm where no monsters live. But here lies the paradox. The illusion is not strong. It is your belief in it that gives it life. The lake never held a monster. It only held your reflection distorted, stretched, shaken by wind, convincing because you never questioned it. Stay. The next line may change how you read your life. What looks like danger may be nothing but your own reflection trembling in shallow water, because you doubted. You sank, because you feared. You fled, because you forgot. You fought shadows. The warning is not against illusion itself, but against your willingness to worship it. This is the lake, the ripples, the reflection, and this is the illusion that even saints fear. Rumi once said, "Do not get lost in your pain. Know that one day your pain will become your cure." The answer is not to fight illusions, but to recognize them. Because, when you fight, you make shadows solid. When you recognize, you let light dissolve them. Think of a child waking from a nightmare. The monsters vanish not because the child defeats them, but because dawn reveals the truth. Recognition, not resistance, is the cure. The Quran whispers this clarity, and declare, "The truth has come and falsehood has vanished." Indeed, falsehood is bound to vanish. The verse does not tell you to destroy falsehood. It tells you that falsehood has no root. It disappears when truth appears. Here lies the paradox. You don't defeat illusion by striving harder. You defeat it by doing less, by pausing, by seeing, by recognizing that what you feared was never real. But what if your greatest struggle was never meant to be conquered, only unmasked? This is the climax Rumi drives you toward. Recognition over action. Illusion feeds on your movement. It collapses under your gaze. Because you resisted, you were trapped. Because you recognized, you were free. Because you remembered, you were lifted. Let this echo stay with you. Illusions vanish in light, and the only power illusion has is the blindness of those who do not see. This is the ghost, the shadow, the vanishing mist, and this is the illusion that even saints fear. Psychology calls it catastrophizing, the mind's habit of painting disasters that never arrive. Neuroscience shows that your brain reacts to imagined threats with the same cortisol storm as real ones. You sweat, your heart races, your chest tightens, all four shadows that never materialize. All four waves that vanish when the wind dies. In therapy, they call it cognitive distortion. You call it reality, but it is not reality. It is the mind rehearsing pain that may never come. Because you worried, you lived twice. Because you imagined, you suffered twice. Because you mistook thought for fact, you bowed to illusion. Here is the irony. The same brain that can create illusions can also dissolve them. Mindfulness, awareness, present, all these practices strip away distortion and return you to what is. Science now confirms what mystics always knew. Recognition heals. But what if the fear that seems unbearable was never true? Rumi's warning was not ancient superstition. It was neuroscience before neuroscience existed. He knew that illusions enslave not because they are real, but because you believe them real. He knew the saint's struggle is not against enemies, but against the mirages of the heart, the trick of the nervous system. So look again. Your life may not be the burning battlefield you think. It may only be smoke rising from a candle already gone out. The modern world confirms what the desert of spirit has always taught. Illusions break when you see them, and this, too, is why saints trembled, because they knew how easily the heart forgets, and this forgetting births the illusion that even saints fear. Breathe, return here. Look around you. Where are the illusions now? The text you feared, the silence you mistook, the shadow you magnified, none of them stand before you now. They dissolved the moment you stopped feeding them. The Quran anchors you back, and put your trust in Allah, for Allah is sufficient as a trustee of affairs. Trust is the antidote to illusion. Trust that the one who made you also holds you, and no shadow can take that away. Illusions lose their teeth when you stand in trust. They cannot bite what light has already touched. They cannot hold what is already carried by the real. Because you trust, you are carried. Because you remember, you are freed. Because you return, you are safe. Rumi's warning was never meant to frighten you. It was meant to awaken you. Saints do not fear illusion, because illusion is strong. They fear it, because forgetting is easy, because even one moment of blindness can turn a shadow into a wall. Stop. Look again. Are you seeing what is hidden, nor only the dust? The call is simple. Step into now. Recognize what is real, release what is shadow, and rest in the light that does not vanish. Carry this warning like a lantern. When fear rises, ask yourself, is this a shadow or a stone? A ripple or the deep? A phantom or the real? You may discover, again and again, that the monster was only mist, and so you will walk lighter, live clearer, and remember the truth hidden beneath all appearances. The greatest danger was never outside. It was the illusion inside. This is the mirage, the ripple, the phantom, the illusion that even saints fear.